Do you ever feel frustrated at your content marketing efforts, like it's a hard, boring chore in order to create it? I know many people feel like this, which makes me sad, but it makes my inquisitive nature kick in. Why do I find it something easy to do when others find it so hard? Well, in today's episode of the Powerful Content Podcast, I'll be looking at how feeling misaligned, FOMO, and overwhelm are all the result of how you approach your content marketing. So instead of blindly following all the experts out there, I'm encouraging you today to look at your content holistically instead. I'll be breaking down how using your heart, mind, and soul can make content feel easy. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 118 of the Powerful Content Podcast. Today's podcast is something that I've been working on for a while, and it's really funny how the publication of my book, The Power of Content, has really solidified this concept for me. It's actually not consciously discussed in the book, but if you have a copy of the book, you can go and see that it's divided into parts, and the framework is definitely there. I think that today's episode is probably a really great example of how thought leadership can develop as you develop and as your ideas become more crystallized as well. So I can't count the number of times that I've personally been sucked in to doing content in a certain way due to FOMO or promises of success. It's even happened in the last couple of years. I was sure that following someone's exact methodology of Instagram posts would help me get more followers and more sales. But it took me so long to unhook myself and realize that the reason that this person was gaining so many followers was because they were teaching others how to use the platform. Wanting to emulate the success of others isn't necessarily a bad thing, I don't think, unless you're trying to do it in a way that feels like you're going against the grain. And this was definitely the case for me. There's so many big-hearted entrepreneurs like you out there that feel misaligned with the traditional content marketing methods, yet continue to use them. And do you know what? That kind of drives me crazy. It's not your fault. You're just swept along thinking that it's the only way to create content. But I'm going to show you another way today. So why does content creation even feel hard for us? Well, there are so many different reasons, but I think that feeling misaligned is a huge part of it. So here's just an example of what could happen. You're told in order to make sales on Instagram that you need to create a reel a day. Now, this takes up a lot of time to record a video, find the right trending audio, write the perfect hook, and create a caption that has a call to action to buy your thing. But you do it anyway because you've been told this is how you will be successful on the platform. But 2 weeks in, you're absolutely exhausted because, well, you've got a life. You don't have all this time to spend on creating reels. So what happens is you give up and throw in the towel with Instagram because there's no way you can keep up. You've failed, full stop, the end. And then your ideal client is left wondering where you are and goes to find someone else instead, which then obviously reinforces the thought that content creation is hard and doesn't bring you new clients. It feels hard because you don't love being in front of the camera, you don't love the tech, you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, and the formula that you've been given doesn't feel authentic. Now, you could 100% carry on with doing the reels or whatever the thing is that you believe that you need to do in order to be successful with your content. But do you want your business to feel forced, to dread to have to do something that really should be more fun and joyous? I know that I don't want that, but I do understand that the FOMO is real. And this is one of the real problems with traditional content marketing. The implied message that we're given that if you don't do as I say exactly, then you'll fail. Once you know that there is a better way of approaching content marketing, one that's through the lens of humans rather than transactions and numbers, things will start to click into place. Now, some other traditional content marketing concepts I really have difficulty with include the idea of the sales funnel because it's so hustle and sales oriented. Done for you content calendars, not helpful in my books. Email swipe files. Do you know what? They're great for inspiration, but they don't use your language and your ideal client wasn't in mind when they were created. And I'm not so keen on an algorithm first approach to socials. The problem is that we continually chase these things, these traditional content marketing concepts, because we think it's the answer that we need in order to be successful. But at the end of the day, all of this feels hard for big-hearted entrepreneurs in particular because it's inauthentic, it causes overwhelm, or you become disconnected and unmotivated to continue creating. So what's the answer, Mel? I hear you say, that's all sounded so doom and gloom, but I do want to shed a positive light on the fact that content marketing can be done differently. Well, I'd just love for you to imagine for a moment what your approach to content could look like if you ditched the shoulds and instead created intuitively in line with your strengths and your passions. Pipe dream? I don't think so. Change your perspective and be open to what's possible with your content. And to me, the way to exactly do this is to think about your content from a holistic perspective. It's an alternative approach to content marketing, but really, it makes perfect sense to me. We all think of well-being and physical health in terms of a holistic approach. So why not use this for our content as well? So the holistic content marketing method is when you take a comprehensive and integrated approach to your content strategy and creation, which aligns your heart, your mind, and your soul. And then content creation becomes far more simple. So this method is about being aware of and using your heart, which is your personal preferences, your strengths and your uniqueness, your mind, which is all about strategic thinking and purposeful processes, and your soul, which is creating meaningful connection with audiences that inspire them. And the result of doing this, the result of taking that holistic approach, the heart, the mind, and the soul to our content, rather than using a formulaic approach or a transactional approach or a tick the box approach, is that it's going to feel aligned. And we all know that when something feels aligned to who we are at the core, then it's going to be easy for us to do. So there's 10 steps within the holistic content marketing method. And if you'd like a visual guide of this, then head on down to the show notes for a free download. No sign up required. I just want you to be able to see what it looks like. But let's briefly go through each of the 10 steps so that you can begin to understand the key to creating content that feels easy. Okay, so when we start with heart, we look at 4 main things. We look at you, your message, the client journey, and the possibilities you create in the life of your clients. The first step is the you. Now, in traditional content marketing and traditional marketing, it's hammered into our brains that we need to know every single thing about our ideal client and or our niche before we do anything else. It's the first step. And yes, our ideal client is important, but it's the wrong place to start. And it's where so many people get stuck because once they've figured out who they're talking to, they try and mold their message and they try and mold their offers and mold their content to fit them rather than starting with themselves first to make everything easier. The you is all about being clear on what you value, your strengths, and your core beliefs. And you can go back to the previous solo episode 116 to find out more about how core beliefs can fit into your content marketing. You can also take my quick quiz on the content creator archetypes to find out your strengths when it comes to content creation. I'll pop the links for both of those in the show notes. Now, once we've started with you, we then move on to message. And this is not a magnetic message that attracts everyone, but rather an aligned message that matters to you and will attract the people who have the right mindset and the right attitude to want to work with you. This is about knowing what makes you unique. And believe me, you are very unique. And then it's about being able to communicate this with your ideal client in a way that they understand and encourages them to want to know more. You'll find that because you've started with heart, then you'll attract those people that are your dream clients anyway. I think about myself, and my message will repel anyone looking for a formula to have 10K months. You may have 10K months as a result of working with me, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for you being you and doing content in a way that feels really good for you. So by simply being me and overly transparent about the things that I'm truly passionate about, my message becomes attractive naturally to the right people by default. It's just about getting to that place of confidence of knowing exactly what it is you want your audience to know about you. And there's no trickery with this. This is about you having a genuine message that matters, that needs to be shared with the world. And then content with heart is knowing your ideal client in a way that most people don't think about. And that's through the client journey. There's lots of mini stages on the way from not knowing you to converting. So there needs to be an understanding of what your ideal client is thinking, feeling, and doing at each of these stages. And then lastly, it's knowing the possibilities that you create in your ideal client's life. What are their challenges right now? What do they truly desire? And how do you communicate what they can be, do, and have as a result of working with you? So that's the heart part of holistic content marketing. You, your message, client journey, and possibilities. Then we move on to the mind. Now, most people, when they come to content marketing, quickly discover that they need to build their email list and have a lead magnet. But the problem is that when we start with our mind or these process type pieces before working out the heart and connection piece, then we're diving straight into the how rather than the why. We're thinking about the best lead magnet, the best email marketing system, how to organize our content, what you're going to create. It's the systems, the tech. It makes a huge difference when you start with the why rather than this how. You become far less robotic and way more you. But the mind is about being purposeful and powerful with your content and having processes in place to help you achieve that. It's about being able to attract and nurture your ideal client and then lead them on that journey with content that's been prepared, planned, and has a process around it. So the first step in mind is the attract piece. It's about creating the right lead magnet or freebie or opt-in and bringing an aligned audience into your world. Not everyone, notice how I said aligned, not everyone, just the right people. And then you move on to nurture your audience. Historically, this is through an automated email sequence once someone has signed up to your lead magnet, but there's lots of other ways to make sure that you're holistically nurturing your audience through social media, through regular email marketing, and through your core content as well. That's your blog, your podcast, or your video, all in a way that aligns with your time, energy, and resources. So now that you're building your email list and you have a way to nurture your subscribers, it's about strategically understanding what content to deliver and when. So that's about being prepared, first of all, with all of the ideas that you could possibly talk about in your content. Now, this may seem like a really huge job, but it's really not. Knowing high level all the things that your ideal client may be interested in hearing about from you stops you from procrastinating or getting sidetracked when you're ready to create your content. Once you know all the things, it's about mapping out when you'll say them. This means thinking about any planned promotions, launches, or events that you may have coming up, what your goals or objectives are, so that it makes logical sense to both you and your ideal client. And lastly, putting a process around all of this so it's easy for you to do on a consistent basis. This takes into consideration the power of reimagination, and go back to episode 10 if you want to find out more about that, and sets you up perfectly for when you're ready to outsource part of your content process. And if you want to know more about that, you can go back to episode 56. Now, we've covered off using your mind, the strategic and purposeful processes of attract, nurture, prepare, plan, and process. This just leaves us with soul. And soul is all about momentum. How can we continue our consistency and visibility, be forward thinking, map for the future, and build a community that we can continue to inspire? When you bring your soul, you know that you are on purpose and that you're working towards a vision that excites you and motivates you, and that you're making a real difference in the lives of the people around you. So that's the 10 steps of the holistic content marketing method. And don't forget that you can download a copy of this from the show notes if you'd like a visual representation or something that you can tick off. At the end of the day, content that's easy to create is content that's aligned with you, not with your ideal client, but you. When you start with you and honor your strengths, then consistency, visibility, and sales will follow as a result. And that's what the holistic content marketing method steps you through. So now we've been through those steps, I want you to just take a moment. Take a moment now to think about where you are on this journey of heart, mind, and soul. Did you start your journey with heart, or did you jump straight into mind and now you're feeling stuck as your content doesn't seem to resonate with your audience? Or are you all about the heart but get stuck when it comes to turning that into the mind? You lack the strategic and purposeful part of your content strategy. Or are you ready for the next stage of soul, to inspire more people and become more forward thinking in your business, but not sure how to do it? If you're finding yourself downloading all the free resources, listening to all the podcasts, buying all the low ticket courses, knowing all the things, but just not being able to bring it all together, then my new one-on-one program, the Content Accelerator, is going to help you. The Content Accelerator is an end-to-end framework based on the holistic content marketing method that we've just been through. That's really aligned with how you love to create and allows you to become more consistent, more visible, and attract more clients that you love working with. This isn't a group program. It's not a course. It's not self-study. It's not even coaching. It's you and me doing together so that you can gain the confidence, the time, and inspiration to get your content flowing again. Now, until 12th of June 2024, I have a limited number of special beta spots available. So jump in now if you'd like to join me. Head on down to the show notes to grab the link to find out more about how we can work together in the Content Accelerator. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @meldbusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join the Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google the Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Pop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.